So I filled each of these with water, the Hamilton Beach with 1.7 liters and the Ovente with 1.5. And I'm going to go ahead and close the lid here and push the button. So here I have to actually squeeze to close the lid. So keep that in mind. That's one of the more inconvenient aspects of this Hamilton Beach. So I'm going to push the button here to turn it on. You'll notice the blue light turns on, and the button for the Hamilton Beach is down here. I'm going to push it and turn it on, and now we'll just wait for it to boil. Now the thing I mentioned before about the stainless steel plate at the bottom and how it builds up with the minerals, and yeah, you'll need vinegar to wash it. My judgment on that is these things will probably last 2 years or 2.5 years. But they're probably not something that'll last 5 years, simply because if you have very high mineral buildup and hard water, it seems like the stainless steel plate is just going to get discolored and get a lot worse, and over time it'll look like it's going to be rust. So you'll notice here just the two blue glows. Now on the video, the Hamilton Beach looks like it's flickering. But that's just a video. In reality, it doesn't actually flicker at all. It's just a nice steady blue there. So let me just pull back here and give you a better overall view of the two models. And now we're just waiting for it to boil. Now the Hamilton Beach is going to take 7.5 minutes, and the Ovente takes roughly 7 minutes, plus or minus, a couple of 30 seconds here and there, really depending on how cold your water is. Though I find that the Hamilton Beach actually heats it a little bit more efficiently, given that it has more water, and the Hamilton Beach might actually come to a boil a little bit faster than the Ovente. Now the difference here is if you are looking for 1.5, the Ovente is good enough at basically $19.99, whereas the Hamilton Beach for that extra 0.2 liters is $29. As far as functionality, you're really just giving up that 0.2 liters. I really do love the lid of the Ovente, and so I'm a little bit biased in that respect. But if you do want a bigger container, obviously, just by looking at both of these, the Hamilton Beach is the way to go. So now both of these are basically coming to a boil there. You could hear the sound. Of the boiling. Now I'm just going to zoom in here and give you a better look, so you could hear and see the sound of the boiling of the water. And there is a plus or minus 30 seconds or so, even from time to time. It's not as consistent as you think, and I think a lot of times it does have to do with the temperature of the water, obviously, that you're boiling. And make sure to keep the cap on, because when you keep the cap on, it adds pressure to the water, and pressure plus heat actually makes the water boil a lot faster. So I ended up tripping the circuit breaker of my living room here by turning both of these on at the same time. So I've actually turned off the light so that it doesn't pull that wattage, even though it's a fraction of the wattage. Let's see if it triggers the circuit breaker again. But keep in mind, these things are 700 watts or so when they're boiling. So that's another thing to keep in mind as you're having these plugged in with other appliances, that they are very high in wattage. And I'll have it posted in the description area, both of these links, but also the wattage, because I'm not quite sure what the wattage is. I believe it's 700 watts to maybe even 1,000 watts, which is much more or less that of a microwave. So I had both of these basically on the same circuit breaker, and it triggered the circuit breaker. Now they are boiling, and probably in another 3 minutes or so you'll see it come to a boil. And once again, the Hamilton Beach consistently is somewhere between 7 minutes and 30 seconds, while the Ovente usually it's around 7 minutes plus or minus 30 seconds, so 6.5 minutes to 7.5 minutes it'll come to a boil. And once again, the circuit breaker triggered. So I had to basically skip to the end a little bit because I didn't want my circuit breaker to trip a little bit too much, but you'll see both of these are boiling. And they do have the automatic shut off, or you could actually manually shut it off just by pushing the button. So I just want to show you its automatic shut off here. And you see the switch there flipped, so it turned it off automatically. And this particular one I could shut it off manually, or it'll shut off by itself. And that's really it. That is the demo of the Hamilton Beach and the Ovente 1.7 and 1.5 liter electric kettle, and I hope this helped. And please subscribe, and thank you for watching, and check out the links in the description area, and thank you.